Hello Astro Bros subscribers, and welcome back to another video. This is the first video in the series of Rahu and Ketu, or the north and south node of the moon. I talked a little bit about what the north and south node of the moon are in my introductory video, but I'm going to do a brief overview real quick before I get into the content, which will be today will be north node in Aries and south node in Libra. Again, these are two mathematical points in the sky that are used in astronomy for the prediction of eclipses, but in astrology they predict north node being the area of obsession, fixation, anxiety, fear, an area where we feel like we have the most to improve and feel very pressured and anxious to improve in that area as quickly as possible by any means necessary. And then Ketu on the other end of the sky, which is a planet which is about detachment, isolation, confusion, sort of unconscious ignorance. There's no fear associated with Ketu. It's associated with things that you're already good at, and so you don't feel you have to focus on them in this life. And yes, this is a Vedic concept, so there is an implicit sort of assumption that people are reincarnating in the Vedic tradition. If you don't like that for whatever reason, or choose not to incorporate that in your worldview, it's fine. You can just look at this as a one-life thing, and you can say that people are naturally good at some things and not naturally good at others for no reason other than that they were born that way. That's fine too. It doesn't have to be a carrying on of past life ability or inability. But according to the Vedic tradition, the north node was an area where you were weakest in your past life, and the south node was one of the areas where you were the strongest. So this exists to balance out your abilities, basically, through fixing your weakness and ignoring your natural inborn strength of your soul at this point in time. So, with that being said, what happens when north node is in Aries, and because they're always opposite each other, south node is in the same degree of Libra? Well, north node, like I said, is anxiety and fear and pressure to achieve. It's also very short-sighted. It wants everything now, and it doesn't care what it has to do to get it. When it's in Aries is self-control. Aries is controlling oneself in the face of tragedy. It's preventing physical harm for yourself. It's also ambition. It's the place where new ideas are born, where the spark of new ideas is lit, since it is a cardinal fire sign, meaning it is the match that lights the fire that is your achievement and your ambition. Aries corresponds to the root chakra. So the first thing that you see with north node in Aries is these people are very driven to, one, have a strong identity, a strong sense of self. They have a sense of urgency toward their personal appearance. They want to look original. They want to look attractive. They want to look high status. And because south node is in Libra, which is a Venus controlled sign, they have a natural sense of beauty, and a natural sense of not just beauty but also communication. These people have a natural inbuilt sense of the art of the deal, meaning like they're born negotiators, because Libra is negotiation. It's the scales that are at the marketplace. If you go to a grocery store and you're weighing out how much a particular piece of food might cost, back in the day, there wasn't a fixed price for things. You had to haggle and negotiate. And you still have to haggle and negotiate for almost everything in life, from job interviews to relationships, dates. Libra represents anybody across from you. So since south node is what your past life is mastered, these people are very, very naturally good at forming relationships. Now, there's a dark side to the South Node, which is that it tends to ignore the things that it's already good at because it's trying to move you away from the things you're already good at and towards the things that you aren't good at, which is where your North Node is. So these people tend to create, this is kind of a negative placement actually, just be forewarned. These people tend to create short-term, fast romances and relationships and partnerships very quickly, and then these relationships self-destruct because once they have what they want, they start focusing on themselves, and then they ignore the other person because the South Node forces us to ignore things. Now, does that mean if you have North Node Aries and South Node Libra that you're going to create a bunch of short-term relationships and then self-destroy them? No, because not necessarily. I would say probably 80% of people with this placement do that because, gotta be honest, part of prediction is predicting the negative as well as the positive, so I'm not going to sugarcoat things for you guys. That being said, if you have this placement, I would not despair too much, because knowing that you have a problem and knowing the source of the problem is the first step to finding a solution. So, it's not like you're doomed to do this forever. You have free will to the extent that you're conscious of yourself and your patterns that you naturally fall into, and part of those patterns are determined by your astral body, which is, you can see through your astrology. So, in psychology, a lot of these people are called borderline. They form short relationships, they form fast relationships. Now, where this might not apply is if Aries and Libra are on the 3-9 axis or the 12-6 axis, so the axis of Jupiter, where Jupiter is the natural 9th and Pisces is the natural 12th, because there's a funny thing about Jupiter and North Node. Since Jupiter is morality and North Node is whatever the opposite of morality is, because it wants everything fast and now, and doesn't care what it has to do to get it. When Jupiter and North Node come together, when those two energies come together, so if North Node is in Sagittarius or Pisces, or if it's in 9th or 12th house, or if South Node is in 9th or 12th house, there is a more spiritual, moralistic, long-term planning associated with this person. And while they still might fall into some of those patterns, it'll be like 5% of what they might fall into normally. Now, and this is also true if, like I said, if Jupiter is conjunct either the North or South Node, and if Jupiter trines the North or South Node, you can have a similar effect, although it's going to be less than a conjunction. So that's basically what this polarity between North and South Node is about when North Node's in Aries and South Node's in Libra. These people are masters at negotiation, they're masters at creating partnerships, they're masters at speech. They tend to have very pressured and fast speech because they're good talkers, but they're not necessarily good listeners, because once they have what they want from a person, they tend to go their own way, and that other person can feel very left out of that situation. So if that applies to you and you have this position, then I would say start meditating on that and whether that's what you really want to do. And if it is what you want to do, if you want to adopt that karma, then whatever, go right ahead. But if you don't want to do that, then it is within your power to change your natural energies, because you know what you're working with. So once you know the clay that is your soul, you can shape it however you want. Well, not however you want, but you can change yourself to a more positive mode of being. And that was basically the synopsis of North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra. And the next video we're going to do is South Node in... Actually, no. Next video we're going to do is North Node in Taurus and South Node in Scorpio. So tune in for that one next time. Till then.